And we did not necessarily charge the Ghanaian for it. We had to borrow. We had to take money from the Bank of Ghana to deal. But that 19 billion cedis has to be paid for at some point. The liabilities we have incurred has to be paid for. COVID expenses.
No, but you gave us that one hand and you're taking it back the other.
No, we were in the midst of a crisis and government had to front load.
You said it was free.
But the IPP producer is also going to say, because the president has said free electricity, I won't charge the country for it.
The government will have to pay.
The government borrow money, the fiscal impact about 19 billion, to make all of those expenses happen. In addition to that, in this already widening gap of our finances, or do we have to introduce a revenue handle that can take care of it? And a government expenditure item for us.
Yeah, but you made a choice to give us free water and electricity. You've extended it, and it served you well in the politics of the day.
Because the government has to make a decision that we have to procure A, B, C, D, E, F, G to go to war and win that war, and does not necessarily tax the population for it today. Government, when we have won the war, or we are on a clear path to winning the war, to say this has been the cost.
So it wasn't free then?
It was free to the people of Ghana at that time.
Told us that.
Well, no, because
down the line you pay for this.
No, because everything we consume in this country is paid for, or ought to be paid for. If not, you want to, offend the people, or do you confront the people with the reality that fellow Ghanaians? The reality is that this gap cannot be there for 1% extra, so that we can continue to provide those services for the people of Ghana and protect lives and livelihoods. And that's what we're expecting that all of us across the divide will do.
Always ask if there is such a thing as a free lunch, whether you should actually look a gift horse in the mouth, and whether when government says something is free, we have to pay all of these taxes, because we have a heavy bill ahead of us that must be paid somehow. This is the way government proposed, helping us get through these murky waters with their quite measured and extensive. Joining us via Zoom is Mr. Benjamin Boakye, the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy. I think you'll have to unmute your microphone for us so we can hear you, Ben. On the phone, Dr. Ali Nachia. How are you? Good morning, sir.
Fine, thank you. And you?
Very well indeed. Very soon to lend us his view from that perspective as well. All right, I want to start. 9 new taxes are what it will take to pay this hefty bill in front of us. And your expertise, is this the best way to solve this problem? Are these the 9 taxes?
About fixing, we may say that not entirely. It may contribute to trying to fix timing. And so knowing that the budget is a medium-term expenditure of 3 months, I say so because this is 2021 budget, and for all purposes, we have 9 months introduced, roll them out. By the time we'll start raking in money, that will be after June, some term of about 3 years. But come to think of it, some of them, I believe, for example, the existence and national fiscal stabilization levy of 5% profit before tax being pushed over to government. So my question is, if it is all about repeat, because the introduction of national fiscal stabilization levy way back 2008 to spend moving on, and it's affecting their performance in terms of expanding their operations. So I think we need to assist. But what was the stakeholder engagement? Because what if they could have accommodated economy and they need to help clean up the sector? Then they should contribute from their after levies. That would mean looking at some charges, and that may affect the financial inclusion, financial intermediation, derails other sectors that also lead to potential revenue for the state. Then we may have a problem. And talking about ESLA levy for only 16 taxes, and now we are coming back. So I keep asking, if the ESLA levy was not abolished at that time, and Obatampa program without necessarily borrowing or something of that sort. So these are we need to mop up what is in the system. What I mean is that a good policy, for example, was to waive interest owing the state, and we can quickly mobilize. Because if you listen to the budget, the Ghana Revenue Authority, can we empower them, assist them so they can go on that tangent and help us raise more revenue administration? Because people started filing their returns online, paying directly into the accounts at the port, led to efficiency. We're able to raise a lot of revenue. Can we rely on it whilst we are looking into the medium term? Maybe from next year, next 2 years. Also remember, after is at the corner, it has started, and when the cost of doing business is going to disadvantage ourselves. Because if you put on more levies, these levies are straight levies, national health insurance, not health insurance levy. Are you not thinking about then reverting the national health insurance levy and get fund? If it is a straight levy, it builds up in the cost, because if I want to recover, I need to welcome. But the taxes, I'm asking whether we can move in a structured approach. Hosi to talk about petroleum sector, so I wouldn't veer too much there. But the impact, we should be ready for it, because here you are, is going to definitely, as stated in the budget, lead to the pump price going up by 5.7%, if not more, because of the ripple effect. It concerns transport fares, cost of businesses, cost of products. If it is a good approach to raise the revenue now, we should look at the impact on other sectors, because if they are impacted and they don't earn the revenue.
That's interesting. I mean, I know that from the State of the Nation address, the president talked about how all of a sudden, automatically, just because of the national identification exercise when we used to. So every national identification number is going to become a tax identification number, because obviously not everybody who has a national identification will be eligible to pay tax. There will be students in there. But at least we'll be able to identify 50 million people so that when it's time for them to pay, we can find them. Burden, now that there are more of us to pay?
As you rightly indicated, we need to get to the point that we have had them on some earning and therefore tax paying. But yes, this approach is most welcome and is long overdue. Reason complying with their taxes keeps shrinking. For example, when we had about 1.2 million, 6 million tax paying population, we had 1.5 million complying. So we had a difference of about 4.5 million, or even half of the 4.5 to join the 1.5 compliant taxpayers. Definitely shows that we can expand our by the synchronization of the national ID and the thing, but also ensuring that it is more of efficiency and effectiveness in trying to reach the taxpayer. Because I keep saying 6 million he wasn't paying, and you are getting him to pay. You've not widened the tax net. You've only been able to reach out to somebody million, then you've widened it. But widening tax net, a lot of the government, I'm sure we are into 2-3 years. The question is, how can we speedily come up with it so country? He is going to pay taxes in his home country. So we have given away our tax revenue. I was factory. Then it makes sense because the cost of establishment and rollout is lessened for the investor. And that is also exempted. It's a bit worrying. So we need to look at closing the gap. If somebody has 10 years tax revenue instead of 10 years. So we need to be looking at some of these exemptions that are, and in all this and embezzlement, we are not recovering these low-hanging fruits, because whoever was engaged, people would see that we mean business, not allowing people to dip their hands in the coffers. I was discussing the tolls. You find out that the worst roads are before and after the toll booths. You can check we used to pass by the roadside to fix the roads, and we are not seeing the roads being toll booths. See people in front of you. Some do not even collect the ticket or collect it and throw it away. Now, and that money is not for government, because your booklet is there to show how much you should bring. Whatever, for no reason, you can pick it, put it in your car, and don't give the opportunity for anybody to cash in on government printing their own tickets and we're issuing, and not the government one. So we have all the loopholes of illicit financial flows. I'm sure my senior Ben Boachi is there, can speak us from the mining sector, for example. They've done a lot of work on it. Are we embezzlement? These are low-hanging fruits we can quickly mobilize, and I'm sure we would exceed.
We're going to be hearing more from Bemboachi, and Senyor Hossi joins us in the studio as well, because we're trying to think whether these taxes. So I want to sort of conclude issues with you before we come to Ben and Senyor. Is it the rich or the poor?
Well, they are indirect taxes, and they are the hardest hit, because if I earn 10,000 and I'm buying the same item with somebody and on the poor, because you cannot, by virtue of this new tax, quickly go and revise the exemptions on the consumption. And in talking about mopping up and blocking the loopholes, I'm sure Senor would tell us on the line with the fuel market. So we have a lot of lapses we can deal with.
We may see results from June. You've talked about illicit financial flows. Do I get the impression that
not need to introduce them, especially for this year, 2021? Remember, you see, but not people. So, yes, COVID, a lot was ruled out to keep the people to live and survive and be. If they are built up, they make all the money, they will pay their taxes. Even in their operations, they are paying indirect taxes in the next year, the next 2 years, and we could have rolled out if we are bringing about 4 and then require that some of them should come on board. Of course, they can be eased out. For example, if you are talking about the pollution levy, why should somebody be generating rubbish in his neighborhood and somebody would pay petroleum tax to be used to come and clear that are clearing the refuse? If the payment for your refuse to be cleared has to be increased, it's a matter of the assembly and going out. If their revenue base is not enough, can we take a second look at our property rate and property taxation? Because that is the essence of property, and we need to revise it. Let's look at reviewing the rateable values of houses. Let's get contributions and move on.
we have to pay for the free water, free electricity, and many of those measures that were put in place last year? And we have free water and electricity to June this year. And now, government has decided also to absorb. You're asking us to pay more for taxes, and at the same time, you are also, continuously doling out freebies, which
were to keep us afloat within COVID. Now here we are with the advent of the virus in a recovery stage. Now we are not in the lockdown and the high tension area now. We are on the track of recovery. Asking, was it necessary for all consumers? Was it the case? For example, that doesn't mean others should not get it. But those who are to get it, how do we map out? Because the providers of the facility, Ghana Water, ECG, to be able to work it out, government would have to pay. So it is not free in the sense of the word.
So should we continue that? You stop.
I am not sure we should continue it. I am not sure. Because, you see, it led to pay for it. There is no freebie in there, and that is profit to the one selling the water. What is he paying as tax on money to certain sectors that are not contributing to the revenue generation base? So that is in the second year of rules. Can't we think about a tax credit scheme where a company wrote, Goldfields Ghana did it for the Huni Valley Prestia Daman Road. Anglo Gold Ashanti just donated the kickback or corruption because the company will not give any kickback to anybody because it has to justify the cost next 3-5 years. So it becomes a win-win situation. He continues paying taxes, although reduced because of the credit, but the pressure on raising the tax that would ultimately maybe distort other sectors.
Dr. Ali, if that's the case, it sounds very doable. Dr. Ali Nachia, as far as and my thinking is that bonds are long-term financing, so that as a nation, what are we missing here?
That is the challenge we keep referring to, benefit analysis, to ensure where are we getting money to pay back. If the same sector, that's why we say, if it is not a growth promoting area, you fall into the problem that you would have. Sinking more debt, the bond to solve the problem. What was the thinking in terms of recovery and payback? Solve this problem. We should have been told, how do we recover and pay back if it of 5%? If it was in the document, then today we can be crying. But in any case, and I keep referring to South Africa, for example, that has a tax committee passed by this committee that would evaluate, engage stakeholders, and advise government to be the impact on the economy. Discussions with stakeholders, they can absorb 0.5% and compliance level going up. And you would then meet the targeted revenue you are looking for. And so I think that taxation, pollution levy, Senior is there to discuss. Was there any engagement with them? Were they engagement with the sector? Go ahead and do it because, well, you have been thought of. We discussed with you. If you decide you just refuse, just for refusal, government can go ahead. But at least that engagement will trigger a lot of options.
Senor Jose joins us in the studio. Good morning to you, Senor. And Ben Boat. 4 years ago, the government made a big fanfare of, eliminating about 60, being able to reach out and bring it back in. And we're going to be paying it again as one of these 9 really ever have been abolished.
Thank you very much, Kojo. I think ESLA is still there, a tax in percentage terms. So that's what they actually did. So ESLA has been that the incident is different. And the effect is different, but it's still a tax. So what some of the legacy debts, and also, that essentially means that you're shifting the burden from to some extent. The legacy debt has been catered for really significantly. What we are going through with this new, when we kept saying that some of the decisions we were taking, one of the issue really was how do we clean the power sector to ensure that it's not in the debts. Then ESLA couldn't really fix the problem because you keep paying, and that is why ESLA today is concerned. But we have failed woefully to fix the debt accumulation issues in the power sector. The most significant invite private participation in the distribution of electricity to ensure that electricity generated to discipline people who pay their electricity bills, but everybody who consumes pay. We can retool, but we failed to deliver that. And that has pushed us to continue on that course of petrol to be able to pay for what they call excess capacity. We agree that there is a challenge, and we have, highlighted that we do not really need. But again, this is the nature of the problem, and we need to have a plan to deal with that problem. So the contract that had been signed, but most of them had not, commenced your expected energy demand. And then based on that, for example, if you had to pay $20 million or $50 million, it was better than waiting for negotiating, and we are still here in negotiation today, right? So we have not been acting the way we should to really stop.
So you consider it necessary? You feel that this is the only way?
From government's perspective for excess capacity, the question I will ask as somebody who look at the sector is really, what is the excess capacity that exists? And we keep pushing that government provides the data on what excess look like capacity, and that constitutes a 2,000 megawatt excess capacity. In reality, it's far from the truth. The company thinks it can generate power. So if that plant is not available, the country doesn't pay for excess capacity. And I give you an example, 380 megawatts for excess capacity. It doesn't happen. You have VRA plants, some of them are not working. With every power plant, you cannot have them run 24/7 all the time. So the time that they are down for no reason.
Forgive me for interrupting, but I think we should seek clarity before we move on. It's interesting what is what we have signed up for. So whether it's being generated or not, whether we need it or not, as long as that is the...
On paper, that is what you sign up for. To say that once down, for reasons that is attributable to the investor, the country doesn't pay for it. And that's why I was citing the example. Assume that they are the excess, they are the ones generating, the car powers and the Ameris and Access, they are the ones generating now. So if the plant which you have to pay, so it is not a straight line excess that you can quantify in a year and say, this is how much I'm going to be paying in excess every year. Or that the inefficiencies in the sector are being added to the excess capacity and accounted as such. And I don't think that is right for us to do. We have to have a strategy to fix because that is a separate conversation we need to have. And we do agree that, where the sector is right now, if we don't take in recent past where you have the light blinking and not stable, the whole country shutting down, we need to have investment to be able to fix that. As we speak, we don't even know what caused the country. How do we fix it? And not to create a bottomless pit to finance the inefficiency. And that is what I see happening, where you think, this is that we're deliberately failing to fix over time. So the critical consideration really, in which we have had a year, and you put 20 pesos on petrol, it is still not enough to be able to offset that. Ghana cedis a year, all right? And if you have excess of, 500 up, add consumers to pay for more. We need to really interrogate this conversation and the numbers that have been thrown at us.
Okay. I'll come back to you later. Freebies, free electricity, free water, and so forth. And the fact that, I'll take on that. But Senor is with us in the studio. And, the underlying theme of our conversation today is whether this, bearing in mind your recent revelation of how the evasion of tax, because it's not avoidance, which really could clear a lot of these this bill that is in front of poorest bearing the heaviest burden. Is this the right way?
I don't think that transits in time past can easily be played against them today. So let's be honest about the fact that it is not the best most of us have in the state, and especially the current government. We talked about productivity other than and taking fufu with juice as the soup. Then you know that there's a problem.
Hey, saying you.
Shanty man in the afternoon has bought fufu, no fish, no meat, and has taken watermelon juice to pour on it as if it's some tomato soup country is. What business has petrol got to do? We went to the people of Ghana, and I was part of those who advocated, supported the government in trying to really push for this. Ghanaians today sometimes pay between 10 and 15% extra on a liter, just because they are trying to take cleaner fuel. Ask for support from the people. The country has a fiscal problem, and it has to solve it. Solving it is not necessarily taxing it this way. We lose a lot of money. I have been happy to really see moves to rather block all these loopholes. 3-4 years with little to no action around it. Trying to deal with these things. And yes, so those who are supposed to deal with it don't do it because they are all culpable.
Why are you getting threats?
Why shouldn't I go? Not expecting, with a clear, some clarity in thought that it's possibly my last. I'm speaking to the finance minister, and we have issues to deal with in this matter. The whole industry is going haywire. I sit here today, I'm a part of a committee that it took a long while for that to happen because I had to go to the vice president. And God bless that man. God bless Bawumia in the morning. He really pushed for analyze that when we've been able to establish that there are billions bigger than what I've even estimated, that's been lost to the state. The GRA that's paying for it, who really wants to solve this problem? Do we look like a country that wants to solve a problem? And then we just come here and start taxing, not paying the right price for electricity. Don't give you a thing. They can only take from you. They can't give you a thing with my left hand. It is dishonest. Unless these things must change. In the electricity sector, why don't you price electricity right? And then if you want to have a subsidy, speak. With all the excess capacity that we have in this country, as far as installed capacity. So what kind of human beings are we? We are sitting here, we're not thinking of ways how to actually boost people who really have a problem. If you're in a country that is as broke as Ghana looks like, you shouldn't. But we don't behave like people who, which further, when you are broke, and then you come and we are putting all these tax at expense of staff And the question is, financial cleanup. They're not living in cantonments and living in Chasako and all that. And today you are sitting here telling us it's not reasonable. Somebody should go and create his field. And you as government, people who are transporting and trying to do the good things are the ones who go and pay for people who are just literally. It is mind-boggling. The petroleum sector issues is solvable. Same thieves who are funding the politicians, the same thieves who are funding them are members of the AOMC. But to catch them, we have all availed ourselves to help get this country away. This Ghana is not cocaine that's going to fish. We are getting to Mexico. The Minister of Finance is aware. The Minister of Energy is aware. There are cases where people have been. You want to fix it, you know what to do. People cannot just have 20 billion just lost in the state just like that. Magic. Then what can you find in the country? If 20 billion you can't find it, what can you find? And funding the politics in our country. Some of them are known. Today, some of them are parliamentarians. Always burdening people. ESLA. I am the architect of ESLA. Nobody can claim that DFA and Abiola. They were the ones who were leading this charge with me. For us to really get a long-term structure and terminate legacy debts, it was not supposed to be overpaid and overpaid, but yes, we are still paying, and still the toy is in debt. It wasn't. If your prices are wrong, be honest with the people. Guys, we should be paying regular politicians, prioritize their deals over the interests of the state. What mechanisms have we? And for me, increasing the taxes on petroleum is opening only all just simply realize in this whole thing. Where we have reached, the good people in the industry would.
Wow. Goodness. Winston.
Yes, and Senor Hossi, stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's a new day.
All it takes, or even that dream car that you finally call your own. But with one bank, you can conveniently put an SME insurance policies. Always stay one step ahead with Bank. Dare you to sign up. Take that one right decision today and insure while you bank. Underwritten by Saham Insurance, a member of the Salam Group.
Bank, forward together.
Why do you allow coughs, cold, and flu to ruin your happiness? You need Summerlin Provide relief for the entire family. Insist on your Summerlin in pharmacies and licensed chemical shops. FDA.
Do you know you can protect your family and property by purchasing our Millennium Enhanced Home Insurance Policy? Or renew your policy to enjoy improved benefits? Talk to us today by calling 0501. Visit our website www.millenniuminsurancegh.com. Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.
IT guru in the world.
Wow! Then let's go study at IPMC College of Tech. You can surely be the next IT guru.
Oh, yeah?
Enroll to study at Ghana's best IT training school and learn any of our world-class IT education courses, undergrad program in information technology and more. With our enhanced learning approach, you have the option of some conditions apply. For more details, send us an email to training@ipmcghana.com or call 055-555-2222.
Now in Ghana, the Plan City Extension Project, rent to own land and house on rural development, and the UN Habitat are right here in Ghana. So be smart though. Be join our affiliate housing cooperatives also. Special offers last until 31st March 211101 and 055-7054-635. Website newaccra.city. Plant City Extension.
You have accommodation to rent out or simply looking for a place to rent. Renters Paradise, your Professor 55366. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rent Assured.
Emmanuel Cleaning Service. How may I help you?
How would you clean your own? You my black traveling bag. Chanu neat. Now one blue kakra. Now medical.
The variant of Camel Antiseptic Liquid. Scratch its panel and text code to 1393 on all networks. Win a trip for two to Dubai every week. You can also win instant prizes like Camel cleans, cares, and protects for healthy skin. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Charlie, so it's actually they use Ico roofing shingles from Interface Limited, long lasting and beautiful.
Ico roofing shingles, we all input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 027
Interface.limited.
Na lamte busianye last week oh. Now so this week omo busianye. Ediana Sisa. Aslam time. CCD, ye the sports, entertainment, kids shows, and in Yama Bebre, a brelam te busiamo munies, cafe dokra. You see Go TV app no for connect to Go TV Max so, and I pay by the pie. Go TV, love it.
On Joy 99.7 FM.
And when you show me a family, I'm so poor, Unya, and Kaya, Magnetic Pipi, but me to me, and a curry. See, come for Fane, Magnetic Pipi, but me to me, and a curry. See, come for Fane,
Government will always take their pound of flesh. The question is this oil distributors? You're just here as a Ghanaian, I'm guessing.
As a Ghanaian friend of this network.
Kind of friendly abuse. Thank you, Senyo. Senyo Hossi is with us. Also, Ben Boache of ASEP. He's the executive director. He's here with us as well via Zoom. And so much for us to talk about. I think we want to go to Dr. Alina Chia first, very quickly. About the fact that, well, if you are to synthesize what they are saying, increasing could be eliminated if we plug the holes, the wastage, the inefficiencies in the power sector. So I'm wondering, how about the taxation sector? We collect taxes that also could be plugged to clear some of these.
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, and as senior and inefficiencies in the Ghana Revenue Authority, we may find out that one of the key issues is the fact that there was less incracy and no hindering of anybody's returns being examined. If saying is, if we could continue from here, as they call the new normal, we shouldn't go into the account and reduce the human interface. That can also help us. For example, is the tax appeal procedure. Now there has been an start working, but at least it becomes a stopgap to reduce the interface between. But one critical issue is the requirement for a deposit. That is a bar to people seeking a review of the civil procedure rules, CI, of the court rules for commercial that you paid in the first quarter of the dispute you are bringing. So why there is a tax audit and it has raised 1 million? That gives a problem to taxpayers trying to seek redress. Although a waiver or a relief. So that is for me one of the issues that we get a compliant taxpayer from a recalcitrant one who needs to follow the full rigors of the law. You can't take such a taxpayer through these rigors because the deposit is also locking up his capital for which he is doing his business. But gradually they are rolling out a new structure where they have area offices and all that, which is helping them to perform better. And then we continue to get the right thing being done. As for badness, it exists in almost all institutions, but that doesn't mean it should be encouraged revenue-based. They bring us all what we need. But in all that, you need to also the Right Honorable Speaker Abdan Bagben when we're launching the Ghana Revenue Authority. I think that we need to look at all that if we want to eliminate the inefficiencies. On the corruption bit.
Please, increase your salary 3 times.
That
the money
it's not about it. The compensation is not about fixing the problem. Let me tell you, it's not about when was the last time they were promotion. Some people have been at the same level for several are working under protest. So here we are not even looking at the package bit, but we are discussing isn't that goes with giving up your best. So we are not talking about package here.
The people decide step.
That's what I'm saying. That is where we need to deal with. That if somebody is giving up his best, and for him system he is transferred, that
Absolutely.
becomes a bad image. But I think that we are saying the same thing.
I agree.
Is that right?
We are aligned. Yeah.
I mean, need to deal with, because you see, in the public sector, in as much as it's not always about performance targets, you have a manager who would appraise you, you fill appraisal forms, and is that open? But something that who also would complain to you about victimization, being transferred because they are challenging, being bold to challenge the system. The question is, where do these people have to lay their complaint? How are they going? The fact that, well, it is not a contract of servitude, but service. So in as much as you have a case, issues need to be dealt with. And then we can get people who would fight and hold the flag of integrity.
Broader, bigger picture and the source of all these problems. We don't need these taxes if we. That is the fact. But corruption will only continue to thrive in this country, and it gets bigger every year. I have great experiences, deep experiences with and all that, because these are research and studies I have commissioned. And the ones that are done sole source and all that, they are criminal. And we all know it. Funding a lot more of this theft. So people are already stealing. Then you are taxing us to pay more. And the money comes is one of my biggest problems. But why do we have the stealing? And this is where we have to really look at the broader who will soon own this country. Because you will never have a president who is the president of his own. That's a mafia. When you are holding 1.9 billion, tell me what you can do in this country. When you have ministers whose ambition is just risk that we currently have. But the politicians are still reveling in the bunch of tax. How do we deal with that? The structural problems you were talking about in GRA, it's not just a GRA problem. It's a cross-public government. The fastest way to do it is to claim that that guy is MPP. That is the foolishness of our constitution. We need to reduce the powers of our president, because the people that we have in our country are generally not. They claim it, but they don't. So let's have systems like Rollins said in one of his videos, that you should have it to have. We can't have a GRA that is fully appointed and controlled by the politics. When you have that, the people who have to pay refunds, which is just 1 year. Previously, we had about 2.6 billion. You will have that apathy. Any structured such that you have minimal partisan appointments, political appointees. All right? I can freely move because I have an obligation. I'm a representative of PEF. I'm an association of bankers, the Ghana Bar Association, the chartered accountants, the chartered institutions. Our country will be well served the day we have a constitution that makes it more economically viable for you to be in opposition, come into office. Not thieves.
Oh goodness, I want to say so much, but I won't. We're going to hear from Bemboachin Group and Joy Business presents a virtual sensitization seminar on the 2021 national budget under the theme 20 seminar seeks to deepen the understanding of government programs and projects contained in the budget and how business operators can take it. Michael Boating, Mr. Evans Asare, also from KPMG, Mr. Kobianda, MD of Bank of Africa, and this seminar will be live on Joy News, Joy FM, My Joy Online, as well as the Chamber's social media platform.
Some TV and social media channels deceiving the public to transfer money to some mobile numbers and have it doubled. Kindly note that Absa Bank Ghana is not associated with this, and go to 429150 or chat with them via AbsaBot on 0501 644 644.
Secure way of enjoying MTN Momo, and that's why from the 2nd of April 2021 you will be required to present a valid, just handling your transactions in a safe and secure way. That is why we're good together. Just Momo it everywhere.
Quality, which is 5 times better than standard definition. Get the new HD Plus decoder today from the nearest author, www.hdplus.com.gh, or call us on 0242 4398.
What would you do if you have the choice to do anything in life? Build your dream. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you?
Plans to meet your life's needs, your child's education, your life savings, your mortgage, funerals, redundancy, and that all our policies are hedged against inflation. Talk to GlycoLife on 0302 branches nationwide for more information.
GlycoLife, we cushion you for life.
Glyco
DSTV. Starting from 14th January to 31st March, upgrade your current DSTV package to the next one, and DSTV will bump you up to the one above that. DSTV step up for more, or call us on 0302 740 540.
Still exists. I'm a COVID-19 survivor myself, so I know. While you speak, you may be releasing saliva droplets that a mask makes a difference and it can save your life. I always carry spares around if you don't mind. Yeah.
Station in partnership with the Multimedia Group.
Multi-TV will its quality advanced S2 decoder from the syndicated capital, which is on sales at only 150 Ghana cedis for the full set of slates. Multi-TV will not be responsible for any problems arising from the purchased decoders as Multi-TV Digi boxes. Remember, the only approved Digi box is the quality 2 or 050-1255-158. Multi-TV, just true.
You must wear your helmet at all times. So must your pillion rider. No exception. Wants us all to look out for ourselves, protect each other, and arrive alive. Thank you.
And said this was their favorite Lord Kenya tune. Have you sent us your favorite? On Ghana Month, we're celebrating.
Yes, I know that. Anyway, but talking about Ghana Month, you know that March is Ghana Month on Joy. And Joy are all Ghanaian music policy conversations about who we are and how we have evolved and the amazing land. And Ghana Month on Joy is brought to you by Key Soup, a tradition of smiles, a future to this March. Buy 12 yards of your authentic Woodin print from any Woodin retail shop nationwide. This on the Super Morning Show is brought to us by Glyco Critical Illness Plan. GSIP, it's in your best interest to survive.
You go and do and die from COVID-19. How? Why? In fact, why and how? Especially after touching anything, including your phone or laptop. Use hand sanitizer when you cannot wash your hands properly, or based disinfectants. Okay, let's do this and stay safe. Thank you. All right. So look, we've had about. It's just made me realize how important this conversation is, and we really need to expand it, broaden it. Boachi is the executive director of ASEP, and the issue of these taxes came up, and the question of all the freebies we got last year. Several Ghanaians, electricity bills was not a problem. Water was not a problem. There were allowances for frontline workers, and that the government gave free electricity. But now we have to pay the piper. And the information minister explained.
Yes, I think that was the reason why I mentioned it from the beginning, that chicken has come home to roost, really, because to give, in the midst of that flowery statements, if you're not careful to analyze the issues, you would think that somebody, even intriguing, if you would understand, is that when they promised the free electricity, and we didn't see where the money was going to come from, we kept pushing that government should let us know who needed free electricity, even though we're in a pandemic. So you could target to say, these are the people who really need free electricity. And what they did really is that after they had, allowed people to consume the electricity for free, really given to ECG for the power that was consumed for free. And we are also being told that we need to pay for it again. So we have to do the math. We have to really look at where give it back to ECG for them to be able to defray some of their debts, or how is it going to get the issues as a collective. And if we just grant the interviews and we leave everything to chance, we'll come back to pay out.
In spite of the hole we are in, there are people still trying to get contracts signed with government. As an industry, why is government even entertaining such a thing, if they are?
I think people always knock at the door of government because government has a political heavyweights who want to push deals, and not much attention is paid to whether it is print. And because some of these contracts will have to go to Parliament, I'm sure that's what has become a problem. for them to go. But people are rigorously negotiating and pushing for capacity. The point about, what Senor talks about in respect of the smuggling that is happening in the downstream sector. I mean, these are not gold bars. If we want crossing the country and we are pretending we don't see them, okay, and it tells you who, being siphoned into pockets, and you can't go for it. Don't burden the ordinary person on the street. And we have been on 10 billion Ghana cedis in losses if we were to support the budget. But the incentive really, as I see it, doesn't exist at this point.
Right.
But if we really look for people to play in that space where nobody's acting,
there's more to gain. Yeah.
All of a sudden, yes, they are also their income has been adjusted. A bigger conversation that the country should pay attention to, and not burden the people. And even in this context of COVID-19, if you, it is the ordinary person who will suffer. The one who has to go to Abu Bloshi every morning without fail. Rich can have an option that instead of going to work, I'm staying home and doing Zoom. I don't move my car, these tax, and not just issue those blank policies that have at all costs. So these are some of the challenges that you want government to really pay attention to.
Yeah, Ben, thank you. What your thoughts are about the way forward at this point?
Thank you very much. We have all what it takes, and I've mentioned some of them. Let's look at taxation that should contribute. I've talked about let's improve taxpayer education so it will improve tax compliance, to verify sales data and VAT collections by the informal sector and mentioned it. And so we need to look at that, and we'll be able to move forward.
We're very passionate about, and the COVID-19 threat is not gone. It's still clear and present. It's going to be. How does the nation deal with that?
What they actually expect of the people. It's easy to rally people together to get things. Salaries can't, and then they're coming to you asking you to pay bills. You think about it. We saw our reputation, our commitment to it, and look at the cost at which we built $6 million. Look at that cost for building that. Tell me how much it costs us hospital. So when you do things like this, how do you expect people to really come along? There's a lot going into a deal with politicians that, look, take 10% of X officially as they don't take 10% with this kind of structure. They actually take 200%. That's no, politicians are giving them protection, giving them blessings, and they'll get some small coins. Those involved get 1 million, get 10 million. Constitution about democracy, because the problem of our corruption is sitting, aiming that we should have this 20% tax. ECG has a meter that ECG will be currently buying a meter. The meters will even come and they won't work well. Who is held responsible? You go to a big house. Not all the electricity there is being paid for. I'm telling you. Nobody is accounting for the power that is going on there, because when we went to PDS, collections went up. We've forgotten. Collections went up. The politicians were a bit out. So I recommend that for most of our state institutions, so if you want to do a PDS, go there. Yeah. You do the same thing with the key things like ports. And then for the regulatory...
Senor Hossi, thank you so much. Thank you to Ben Boachi and Dr. Ali Nachia. Wow, what a show we've had. We have a...